Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Money in the Law, My FM 101.3. This is the St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, it's a special Money in the Law today.
As many of you know, we record our show on Wednesdays, and then they air on Saturdays. So, although you're listening to this Saturday, we are in the midst of March 17th, which is also known as a holy day of obligation for many of us, especially.
We just had a little bit of the sacrament right now, as a matter of fact. Funny you should mention it.
It is St. Patrick's Day. So we're wishing everybody who's listening now a belated happy St. Patrick's Day. But to us, we are right smack dab in the middle of it. So, Jay?
Actually, you know what? If you celebrated St. Patrick's Day correctly, you might just be waking up right now to this radio show. You might have skipped Thursday, probably most of Friday, and here you are.
I mean,
back at it.
And you know what? It's almost like back in the day, because now, you know, when you become a middle-aged man who has responsibilities and familiar responsibilities and children to set an example for, you know, when St. Patrick's Day happens in the week, you know, it's maybe you have a couple beers, you have a couple Guinness, you eat some like St. Patrick's Day food, but at the end of the day, it doesn't turn into anything.
When it's like a Monday through Thursday St. Patty's Day.
Exactly. But you know, when St. Patrick's Day shows up on a Friday or on a Saturday, forget about it.
Well, first of all, I'll tell you right now, I'm gonna share a little secret with everybody. You're
not Irish?
No.
Because you don't look Irish.
The number one reason that I went into business for myself was because of the issue that you just raised. When does St. Patrick's Day happen? Is it a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? So I decided years ago, I said, you know what, I'm going to go to law school. I thought this all the way through, and I was going to go to law school. I'm going to hang out a shingle. I'm going to put my entire family's financial health at risk by making a run at it with no net.
To use that's right. I was going to say that's your quote, and I use that all the time. This is the Jay Marsden gets credit for this quote. He goes, "I'm flying without a net right now."
100% commission. 100% commission. And I did that because I just get tired of waiting for like a really good St. Patrick's Day every 5 years.
Yeah.
So this way,
on a Tuesday you ain't ripping it up, especially even when you're a kid. And when you're a kid, you know, you can sort of kind of get away with it, you know, and it's rough the next day, but it's you know, when you're working at Fido, right? When you're working at the Green.
Well, at Fido, because I'm working at the Big Green Monster, and I'm literally on a day like today, if I didn't take a vacation day, I am literally one eye on the clock and one eye on the exit, right?
Pain.
And the good news,
and one eye on the latrine, because you probably are spending most of your day in there, just a little back and forth.
The good news is, you know, on a day like today, you'd be in the city, and you'd be like, all right, now, the downside is, where do you want to go, right? So, okay, well, let's get out of the Black Rose, for example. Hold on. The line goes down to Surface Artery.
And that's how it was back in like 1989.
And,
right?
It's a $30 cover to get in, right? Then you get in.
Which is the 2021 equivalent of $375.
That's right. And then you get in, and it's like, oh, you want to get a beer? Sure. Hold on. The line's over there.
Yep.
Okay. No worries. Right? You're about 80 deep in line,
but
right?
You know what? But when you're 27 years old, you're like,
died and went to heaven.
This is great.
Died and went to heaven.
Oh my God, there's only 40 people in this line. Okay, I'll wait, and then I'll meet 800 people as I'm waiting in line, right? And 3 of them will become like my lifelong friends. Some of them may be bridesmaids or maybe groomsmen in my wedding.
Yeah, maybe there's a bachelorette party behind or whatever. I mean, it's all kinds of crazy. It's all kinds of mayhem. And so there's these stages, right? I should have printed this out.
Good old days.
There's like these stages of St. Patty's Day, right? And the stage is like when you're a kid, and if your friend doesn't wear green at school, you pinch him, right?
Yeah.
You pinch him because they didn't wear green. That's the whole thing, right?
That's not how it was in my school.
And then you get to
a little worse.
But that's right. But there's a punishment doled out, right? Because you didn't embrace the day, right? And then you get to college, and of course, any college St. Patrick's Day memories you have long since just disappeared into the ether, right?
You remember, all you know is that St. Patrick's Day happened that year because you can go back on your iPhone and look back
not for you and I, we can't, but anyway.
No, I'm just saying, you can look at a calendar and say, oh yeah, in 1990, there was a St. Patrick's Day, right?
Yep.
It was on
when I was at UMass, there were 4 St. Patrick's Days. Do I remember them? No. Do I remember some portion of them?
I knew they were in March.
No.
I remember they were around the middle of March.
I might remember the beginning. I might have been looking for stuff to put on to like celebrate my heritage, and then that's about all I remember, right? So that's that. So that's like you're in college, you can barely remember it. Then tell me if you remember this stage of St. Patty's Day. Then you reach this point where you're like too cool. You're too cool for St. Patrick's Day. You're like, you know what? I don't need I don't need St. Patrick's Day to like make it
to
okay
be Irish.
for me to go out and like be cool and have a couple of beverages. I don't need an excuse.
Wait, what age bracket was that?
This is like the mid. I'm just telling you what I read.
No, I'm just
telling you. I'm not subscribing to this. I'm not subscribing to this concept. This is just what I've read.
This is the guy who so just for full disclosure, I was about 27 minutes late getting to the studio today. At least 20, and the reason why, I can disclose this, right? Holliston Cable Access.
Yeah, the FCC's fine with it.
So
sure.
the reason why is that I'm getting ready to go, and I'm going to be sort of kind of on time. I'm pulling out the driveway. I get to the end of my road, and I'm like, wait a minute, there's something that I wanted to bring, and I've been thinking about it all week long. Like,
you said to yourself, oh my God, I forgot something.
I wanted
Keys?
to bring, yeah,
no,
I wanted to bring this.
No.
And
iPhone?
I
have those.
And so I had to go back. And I remembered that I had in a very special place, a very
by the door,
sacred place in my house, I had my bottle of Tullamore Dew.
Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor. But
he's zooming in on it. He's zooming in. Hold that up. Hold that up. He's zooming in on this. Okay. Right. He's zooming in on this.
I had my baby.
Kiss that baby.
I had a bottle of Tullamore Dew.
Kiss that baby.
Right. And I knew that because it's St. Patrick's Day and because of my Irish brethren that were going to be here today, I said it was my. It's not that I wanted to do it.
No.
It's like I didn't have a choice.
No, well, I mean,
I had to bring that for you. I absolutely had to.
As we say at the house, we're not savages. We're not savages, right? So it was
almost like it was out of my control. It's like I have no other choice. I had to turn around.
So let's get through this third step. So the third step is all of a sudden, for some strange reason, you think like, I don't need that. I do most of my best work outside of St. Patrick's Day. This is amateur hour, and I'm not playing that game, right? So you go. I'm not saying it's a long phase. I'm just saying it's in there, right? You have this little crisis of conscience, and you do that.
Long.
That's right. It's maybe one St. Patty's Day, right? You're like, I'm not doing that, right?
It's one bad St. Patty's Day where you're sick. So
then you move right through that stage to the fourth stage, right? Which is my favorite stage, which is where I am comfortably settled in right now, and I will continue to be comfortably settled in for the rest of my life.
It's like it is. You know what it is? It's your happy stage. It's the I'm Irish. I'm proud to be Irish. It's St. Patrick's Day, and it's like you wake up on March 5th, and you're like, wow, this is great. I'm Irish. You wake up on December 11th, and you wake up, I'm Irish. You wake up on March 17th, and you're like,
oh, I'm Irish.
Oh, I'm really Irish.
So the stage is this. So now you're at your fourth stage, which is basically, if society is going to give me a day that I can go out and literally enjoy myself to the nth degree, judgment-free, I might
somewhat
add.
Judgment-free, right?
Judgment-free.
Somewhat judgment, because you're like, hey, it's not his fault, right?
Judgment-free. I'm all in.
Yeah.
I am sign me up all day long.
Why am I not?
That's right. So here we are.
So this is the St. Patrick's Day special. Money in the Law. Main Effort is my company. The Marsden Law Group is his. There's a lot of M's, right? Money in the Law.
Very alliterative. Alliterative is the word you're looking for.
That's a great word.
Oh, and by the way, so remember, not only is this remember St. Patty's Day last year, right? So depending on your timing, depending on how you embraced or didn't embrace the pandemic,
you were looking down the business end of it.
St. Patty's Day might have been your last hurrah. That might have been
remember, that's right. I want to say, and again, I'll have to check the calendar, but I think that's right around the time when school shut down, right? That's where they said, hey, no more school. Done. Everybody's going home. There's no more school.
Yeah, we are done. Yeah.
And that to us, like kind of in our world, in like, the modern suburbia with kids in high school, like that was a big deal, right? Like,
oh yeah.
When it was like, all right, kids, you aren't going to school. Like kids not going to school. I mean, like remember, like that's a big deal when kids don't go to school.
I mean, when the government, whatever you define as government, when the government said like we're shutting it down,
whatever you define as government.
No, but I'm saying whatever state you're in. This is a multi-state show. So whatever. When your government said like we're shutting it down, like remember there was a window.
That's a huge deal.
This was, I joke all the time, I'm like, this was an I Am Legend moment, right? When they're all fighting to get off the island and get over the bridge. Like the government was shutting it down. This was the same way. Yeah. And this went from like the hardcore parts of the initial kind of the COVID shutdown. It was St. Patty's Day. I think of it as St. Patty's Day through Easter. Like That was the part that you were like locked down.
Well,
that was a month.
Well, that was where everybody, because up until that point, and I'm on the list, right? Because like the first week of March, we traveled to Virginia. We flew on planes to Virginia to go to a soccer tournament, right? So I'm on a plane and I'm like, I'm not wearing a mask. And the only people that are wearing masks are like, there's maybe like a half a dozen people that are wearing masks, and they're all like,
they're in the know.
They're looking at you like, you probably should be wearing. And I'm like, oh no, I'm fine. What could go wrong, right?
I had just got back from Florida.
Right?
And we were like, oh, we just got back from Florida. Everything was great. Everything was normal. We had a big,
and we were right there. And then all of a sudden, it's like, wait a minute. There's 11 cases in the United States. Now there's 11,000, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh yeah, it's here. And
it's not going to come here. It's just here.
No, but it's here.
Yeah,
but even then, I'm kind of in that. I started to. It started. And I'm not dumb, but at the same time, I'm starting to think like, there's more to this than we than we realize. And my brother back in December is like, hey, I just went on Amazon, and they're all out of masks, and I'm like, what are you buying masks for?
But to your point, it's not a case. It's not a dumb case. It's like one of those like, oh, this is my first pandemic, right? I mean, like, this is like, nobody knew what to do.
But a lot of us are like, we're also hoping, right? And again, like everybody was kind of, we're hoping this is going to go. We're using hope as our course of action, which is the wrong thing to do.
Which is what you highlight all the time.
Exactly,
I will say that's on the letterhead.
I hope that we don't. I hope this doesn't get bad. I hope this doesn't turn into what it could be. I hope it doesn't get like it is in Wuhan and like in China. Like those guys are shut down. Because remember, back then China was like, they were like, they locked it up.
Yep.
And not us. We're like, oh, no.
Well, and then somebody was joking on TV this week or online this week, and they were saying how, I don't know if you saw it, I don't know if you remember it, but that horrible, I think it was horrible. I've heard it was horrible. I saw it. It was horrible. The Imagine video. The Imagine thing that floated around.
Oh, right, with all like the
and they were saying how
they were
saying how can you believe that like they dove into this a week into this thing, like that's like it was a week a weekend, everyone's like, oh my god, this is gonna be horrible. Here we are a year later, right? Like a weekend it was like this is as bad as it gets, and like no, plenty more to come, more to come, right? So it was crazy.
And so again, we're in it, right? We're like right in the we're in it. We're living it right now. So like 10 years from now, we're gonna look back and we'll be like, and we're gonna shake our heads. We're gonna say, oh my God, like that was like insanity. How March of 2020, and here we are in March in 2021, like a year later, and all of all of the devastation that has happened, like everything that has happened in that 1 year, and here we are, and we're like, wow. No one saw this coming.
But when future generations go back and listen to Money in the Law, what they're going to hear is there was a discussion around.
They're going to hear the guys.
I say this all the time. There was a discussion around the beginning, the middle, and the end.
Yeah,
and we talked about it, and we didn't know a year ago. We didn't know what the beginning.
We were doing it on Zoom.
We knew what the beginning was. We knew what the beginning was. We said we don't know what the middle is. We know what the end is. And here we are a year later.
Here we are.
And we have a better sense. We have a better sense. We can at least see maybe. It's out there somewhere. Maybe
and we're celebrating St. Patrick's Day.
Maybe a moving target. But here we are.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come right back to Money in the Law, My FM 101.3.
We might need to fill those up.
Special thanks to Hollis Cable Access Television. Christian Bidet, who is our executive producer. Videographer, director. Christian, so Christian, I had a conversation before this. I just want to talk about you. So Christian has been with us for over 4 years.
Is that longer than Cronin the Barbarian?
Way longer. Oh, Cronin was here for 4 episodes.
Wow.
Christian has been here for 4 years doing the and again, he doesn't make a sound like hell. Everybody listen. Do you hear Christian?
Nope.
No, nobody hears him because he doesn't. He's silent. He's like invisible.
No, but he's like insurance. He's there when you need him.
Exactly.
He's there when you need him.
You know what
but
you are?
In the meantime, he's got you covered.
You're a 30-year term life insurance policy.
You're the personification.
Yeah, you are.
You're the personification of insurance.
Right now, he's trying not to laugh. He doesn't want to make any noise.
Because you know what? Because your insurance doesn't.
Yeah, because you know why? Because Guilfoyle in Hollis and Cable Access TV he'll like smack him around. He'll say, "Hey, listen, you can't laugh on this."
Blend in.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're invisible. You're invisible. All right, that's right. I'm talking to you, Guilfoyle. You know what, Christian? 4 years, executive producer, Money in the Law. Probably It's got to be one of the longest running shows on Holliston Cable Access
what's that
TV.
get him? A Peabody? That gets him. He's in like Peabody.
I mean, he's
that area.
Peabody. There's another award, Nobel. I don't know, but they're out there, right?
No, I just think he could go to Peabody, or he could go to Danvers, or he could go to Beverly. I'm just saying he can go to North Shore. He's not going to get the. I'm not talking about the award. I'm just talking about where he could go. Like he could go up there and film stuff. I'm not
he
talking
could go
about
anywhere. He could go anywhere. So Christian, this is a special St. Patrick's Day shout out to you. Being here for over 4, I mean, it's north of 4 years.
4-ish.
4 years. He's the guy who makes it happen for everybody who watches us, who likes to actually look at the people who are on the show, which is,
for obvious reasons.
or on obvious reasons. So we'll be right back. I'm Money in the Law, My FM 101.3. We'll be right back.
And we're back. My FM 101.3. Jay Marsden with the Marsden Law Group. John Drohan, Main Effort Financial. Christian, steering us through the cosmos.
Christian Boudet.
Thank God. Today, which you're hearing on Saturday, today is the St. Patrick's Day show, and we are well into the cups here on the radio, getting after it. Just trying to talk about the money in the law, and the more we get into the cups, the more the money in the law gets a little blurry.
No. There's nothing blurry. This is the this is the St. Patrick's Day special. This is and we've never done one in 8 years. We have never done a St. Patrick's Day special.
Great point.
And you know, and so what's your Irish lineage? I know for a fact I'm at least 50% Irish lineage from Waterford. That is where the Drowan, which is how it's pronounced in Ireland. That is the Drowan clan is from that county in Ireland.
So I didn't spend a lot of time working on that. I didn't 23andMe this. I got mom is a McCarthy, dad's a Marsden. They're both.
But you don't look Irish at all. I mean, no, you look so Italian and like dark skinned and like I mean.
You know what's funny? So my wife does not look Irish. She's got the dark hair. She's got the dark skin. She tans up in a heartbeat, unlike her pasty white Irish spouse. But her grandparents are absolutely right off the boat from Ireland. Yep. My father-in-law, he's Mr. Ireland. Today's a big day for him. He's Mr. Irish. But it is, and her grandparents, who I knew growing up, there's a whole different story there, but I knew her grandparents before I knew her because of the way the whole relationship worked out. And her grandparents, right from Ireland, heavy Irish brogue. The joke was you could never understand a word they said.
Wait, let me get this straight. So you knew her grandparents before you knew her?
Oh, I knew my wife's grandparents before I knew her. And I knew my wife's how I get introduced to my wife is a very good friend of mine, one of my best friends growing up, Jimmy Devlin. Shout out to Jimmy Devlin. He got married.
Devlin, another what is he?
Another not Irish name.
Card carrying Portuguese.
And I can tell you right now, walking in the front door at the Devlin house on Saturday afternoon, you got to listen to. You were actually, it was like walking into a wall of the Irish Hit Parade, right? WROL, I believe, if I get it right. Don't shoot me, Tom. Don't shoot me, Tom. And you walked into the Irish Hit Parade, and so my buddy gets married, and he says to me, I'm going to get married, and I want you to be in my wedding. And I said to him, Jim, I love you to death. You're like a brother. I love you to death. I said, I'm honored to be in your wedding. I said, but I got one condition. He goes, what is it? I said, my one condition is I want you to make sure that I get not hooked up, I get a good bridesmaid.
You get matched up.
I get matched up. I get matched up.
You don't want to get matched up with some married lady who's Nope,
because he has the options, right? You've seen it before, right? Yeah. I get matched up with the married lady. I don't want that.
Here's
and
the
I don't
options.
want to. I don't want to get matched up with the 13-year-old who's first day in heels. Right. I said, match me up with a good. Give me
a chance.
Just give me a good bridesmaid.
Chance. Yep.
Just give me a good bridesmaid. Well. He delivers.
Shut the front door.
He delivers.
I never heard.
You never heard the story?
No.
Oh, so he delivers. So he says to me.
So that's how you met you were paired up in a wedding.
We were paired up in my. So hold on. So he's one of my best friends growing up. He's her cousin. So we get paired up at the wedding.
My cousin.
We get paired up at the wedding. Bingo.
Yeah, it's
we get
Jimmy
paired
Devlin.
Up. Yep. We get paired up at the wedding. So prior to the wedding, they have all that like pre-wedding stuff. My wife, my future wife, doesn't give me the time.
No, as well
day.
She should not.
All right.
Have. Yeah.
Now I think I'm too cool for school,
of
right?
Course.
I'm like, of course.
How old are you?
25-ish.
Yeah.
In that vicinity,
you are,
right?
So you're the
I'm at the height of my powers. The height of my powers, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, Yeah. Hey, so you're hooked up with my buddy Jay. He's your partner in the wedding.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah.
Great.
Whatevs.
Right.
Whatevs. Could care less. Not impressed one iota. So now it's game day, right? So I bring it. I bring it game day. I show up.
You show up. You're not messing around. Right?
Oh, it's go time.
Yep,
it's go time.
Well,
right?
you know what? And that's what that is one of the things that I respect about my partner here on this show for over 8 years is that you value being prepared. You understand the value of being prepared.
I did the work.
Yeah, you do, and that's where it happens, right? It's not there.
Nope.
It's not at the time. It's the preparation. I bet you look great. I bet you took a
Tuxedo,
shower.
Tuxedo, fantastic, right?
Yep.
Hair, perfect.
Hair, perfect.
Right?
I'm going to get you know what? Because a lot of guys are like, oh, I got, especially when you're 25, you don't think about that stuff. You're like, oh, do I need a haircut for this, right? And when you're 25, you think, I look good, whatever.
And here's the other part. Got to understand the goal, right? The goal is the goal. That's the goal, right?
You don't. It's not clearly defined, right? It's not like I'm looking for my future wife. You're but you just want to go there and you want to make an impression.
Not even impression. I just want to be like, I don't want somebody at the end of this to say, because I know on the other side, she's got the same concerns.
Exactly.
Same concerns.
Exactly.
Hey, I hope I get a decent groomsman, right?
Right.
Ladies.
Because I got to dance with them, right?
You've all been there, yeah.
There's a guaranteed mandatory one dance where you got to dance with them.
There's some forced community.
Yep, you got to spend some time in the limo.
That's
right. You got to spend some time in the limo. You got to
carry a conversation.
You got to do some pictures, right?
Yep.
Exactly.
Can he drink 300 Bud Lights? These are the concerns that you have as a bridesmaid.
I wish I was a fly on the wall because you know what? I can only imagine knowing you and knowing your wife. And Jay's wife is one of the most wonderful people on this earth. I can only imagine how you were on fire.
You're gonna bring your A game.
Yeah,
my wife suffers. My wife suffers no fools, right?
Yeah.
You got to bring your A game, right? She could see through all of that from 1,000 yards out, right?
Yeah.
She knows the drill. So I show up
She's
like
this guy, as goofy as he is, and he's kind of funny looking, but he's good. He's attractive, but at the same time, he's not like he's not trying too hard, right?
No, got to manage that a little bit. Yep.
And she's like, wait a minute. I'm gonna get. You know what? I'm gonna give this guy a chance.
I'm gonna give him a chance. Give him a chance. Okay, sell it. Sell me. Sell me.
You know what? You have my attention. Let's go. You have.
You get 5 minutes.
No, I was gonna say you have
5 hours.
You have like 2.5 hours right now.
Wear me down.
Show me what you got. Like give me your best, and then and then we'll see.
Yep. And then history happens. And so we end up hitting it off. Great time at the wedding. Totally connect on like multiple levels. Have a blast. All this great stuff. And was funny. And what is funny is
in other words, she drank all of the Kool-Aid that Jay was pouring into her glass the entire wedding.
She was Kool-Aid. Kool-Aid's good. We'll work with Kool-Aid. We'll work with that. But a lot of laughs. Had a great time. And then at the end of the wedding, it says, hey, do you want to get together again? Sure.
How do you say no?
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 Why would you, right?
Why would you? See where it goes.
I mean, exactly. I'm not committing anything. I'm not. I'm not accepting.
Nothing long term.
No one's handing me a ring.
You're not signing anything. Nothing long term. Nothing long term.
Right. There's no contract involved.
Yep.
And you say, why not? What have I got to lose?
Let's make a run.
I'm 25 years old, right? This is my time, right? Let's see where it goes.
But that's a story. So my story, of course, my story ends with I walked down the aisle twice.
Why?
Well, one time. One time as a bridesmaid. One time as a bride.
Wow.
Huh?
I mean,
not bad, huh?
That's a great. I never heard that.
You never heard that story?
No, that's a great story.
I got skills.
And it's one of those Cinderella stories where you, as the man, like as you tell the story and as you say it out loud and as I hear it, it's almost like you had. Again, we fall back into this. I had no choice. It was out of my control. Like I was going to marry this woman, and we were going to have children, and we were going to live the rest of our lives together as like life partners.
Sure.
And nothing can get in the way of that.
Well, and the kind of the ongoing joke is, so I've known her cousins my entire life. Grew up with them, great guys, phenomenal family, and not only phenomenal family, her uncle, who was my buddy's dad, he grew up with my old man. So like the connections run to the point where you're like, this is pretty funny.
This is pretty funny. Where this is almost like it's one of those prearranged marriages, right?
Yeah, but not like in a
royal thing.
Yeah, not like in a Rudy Giuliani sense. I mean, it's different than that, but it all worked out for all the right reasons and very funny. And my wife's got the best family, the best in-laws. Everybody's great, and everybody gets along. But it was just very funny the way the whole thing unfolded.
So as you guys started to get to know each other, and like all of the onion layers started to unfold, and you're like, oh, this is my cousin, this is your dad, and we were connected here, and here. At some point, Kim probably started to feel like, I have no other choice, but this is the guy I have to marry him.
Well, I wouldn't say it that way.
But not in a bad way, but almost as like, who else am I going to marry, right? Who else?
Who else checks all the boxes?
Who else? Not only checks all the boxes, but like makes different boxes and then checks
adds more boxes. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. All right. So here we are on Money in the Law today. We're talking about the St.
Patrick's Day edition.
The St. Patrick's Day edition, right? And this is the.
How did you meet Haley?
The Jay Baxter.
Let's talk about that.
You know what? We'll talk about that after the break.
We'll take a quick break.
We'll talk about that after the break.
You might refill these.
On my FM 101.3 on your St. Patrick's Day edition. Hollis and Cable Access TV is here with us as well. Christian, who is our man, 4+ years.
And our DD, which we love. God bless him.
We'll be right back.
And we're back. My FM 101.3, Jay Marsden, Marsden Law Group. John Drohe, Manafort Financial, who's playing the fun police as we talk about St. Patty's Day.
There's a St. Patrick's Day special.
St. Patty's Day, hold on. St. Patty's Day on Saturday. By the way, only Money in the Law will give you two
St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
This is why you should love this show like it's nobody's business.
So yeah,
we'll give you two St. Patrick's
So I got to give a special shout out to two guys, right?
Go ahead.
Two guys,
Go
all
ahead.
right? So one of them is our pal, our mutual friend, Ken Sawyers.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So Kenny Sawyers.
He's in jail.
Unfortunately, he's in jail. He's in jail, but he's probably getting out. Because I think he's got a good lawyer. Kenny Sawyers. We're just saying, listen, Ken, get out there, celebrate St. Patrick's Day this Saturday. You probably did it on Wednesday because you're a lump. Right, yeah, you're one of those like midweek guys.
Oh, yeah, I got to work. Yeah,
he's a midweek work. He's a midweek. You know what else he is? He's a lump when it comes because Kenny, like myself, is a native New Yorker.
Yes.
So when our Giants,
it's one of his negatives. Yep.
And we're both whatever. Our Giants. He's a Giants fan as I am, a lifelong, a born Giants fan. And when our Giants were in the Super Bowls against the Patriots, I would be like, hey, my Super Bowl party's happening. You coming? He's like, no, I'm not coming. I'm like, what are you talking about? There's no other Giants fans around here. He's like, I watched the game by myself.
Oh, one of those guys.
That guy, right? Yeah.
Stop.
So this is, right? So, and I'm like, no. And of course he missed, and I think I've talked about it on the show before, like both of those Super Bowls, and my performance at those Super Bowls was as, I could have been a Super Bowl MVP, as was Eli Manning for both of those Super Bowls.
Understandable, yeah. Yeah.
And the second shout out is for another one of our mutual friends, Eric Koharich.
Oh, the great Eric Koharich.
Eric Koharich, who I think, remember when we talked about my 50th birthday party and that bottle of Tullamore Dew?
Yeah.
That came, I think Eric brought that bottle.
I think
Not this one. This is a different one.
I believe he brought a bottle that size, and I believe he left with it, and I think it was empty when he left.
Yeah, but that was the one that Jay actually kissed as if it was a baby.
Yep.
It's a politician thing. But so Eric Hart, just shout out to him. Eric Hart, he gave me some. He sent out some St. Patrick's Day jokes today.
I'm sure he did.
Here's your St. Patrick's Day joke of the day.
Of course, you did.
Joke of the day.
Go ahead, fire away.
Joke of the day. What do you call a big Irish spider? Patty Longlegs. Tell your friends. There you go. Patty Longlegs. Come on.
Horrible. That's horrible.
No, it's not.
That's horrible.
That's a home run.
That's horrible. We used to do the St. Patty's Day. They used to have a breakfast in Holliston.
Oh. Well, you know what I want to do? So this is what I want. All right, so tell me about it.
Do tell. No,
I want to hear
I'm done there, and that's more exciting.
Great.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So the St. Patrick's Day breakfast sounds good, and actually we could probably do it. So as being part of the Holliston Community Action Fund, which you are as well, even though you just say you're not, but you are, the Holliston Community Action Fund, one of the nonprofits in Holliston. What I've always wanted to do for a million years, and I've never been is a 5K or a 5 mile
St. Patty's Day 5K. It's got to rhyme. It's got to rhyme. St. Patty's Day 5K. Yes.
Exactly.
We talked about this like back
ago.
in our HBA days, like that we should do something like this.
Yeah, and again, there's everybody's like, oh, the weather and this and that.
Yep.
So I'm putting it out there right now. So it is 3/17/2021 on our recording.
Oh, yeah.
Next year,
Put in your calendar.
I think we're going to put it in your calendar.
Sure.
We're going to do a St. Patrick's Day run.
So we used to have when I was on the Board of Selectmen in Holliston, we used to have the St. Patty's Day breakfast. And so the first year we go to the St. Patty's Day breakfast, I forget where they held it, and forgive me for not knowing, I just forget. And so I'm sorry, you know what? I think it was at the golf course.
Of course.
And so we go to the golf course in Holliston. Anthony's, great, phenomenal place. If you're ever looking for food, go up there, outside, sit in the deck, watch the comings and goings. Great place. So we go to the breakfast, and I get there, and the first question, of course, is, it's the St. Patty's Day breakfast, and somebody goes, "Can I get you anything?" And I go, "Yeah, a beer."
I know what I want for breakfast.
A beer.
Yeah.
Right. It's a St. Patrick's Day breakfast. No disrespect meant to all my Irish brethren, and so they're like, "I'm not sure the bar's open," and I'm like, "What do you mean? The bar's open?
We're going to need to make some adjustments because right now the bar needs to be open."
Who's in charge of this thing? And then they move it. And they move it to a church.
You mean when Carl
they move it to a church.
You bet
they move
they
it to a church, right? So then they're like, "Oh, we're going to have it at the church." And I will say, and I won't name names. I won't name names. But a very good friend of mine says, "Hey, just FYI, I got your coffee, and this is your coffee right here." Yeah. And he goes, "Here you go."
Else's. It's definitely not Kendall's coffee. No.
And he says on multiple, "I want to make sure that you know that this is your coffee. Don't let anybody else drink your coffee." And I said, "God bless you. God bless you. God bless you."
It's
God
funny.
bless you.
I have that is that is of course one of my favorite, if not like one of my favorite good Jay Marsden selectman stories. Right? Yeah. I have a similar story in that remember, and I think you were part of this. The Holliston soccer, HISA, Holliston Youth Soccer, had what was known as the Shamrock Ball.
Oh,
right.
Yes.
So that usually,
I remember.
And that usually happened right around this time, like the St. Patrick's Day. So it was like kind of that St. Patrick's Day theme.
I believe Upper Town Hall was the location.
Upper Town Hall was the location. So we would have the Shamrock Ball, and of course, what it was kind of like a father-daughter dance, and it was.
It was a father-daughter. Yep.
It was great, right? And so so we were both had kids that played soccer, and you would take your kids to the dads would take their kids.
Yep.
And I can remember, so my dear friends, Wayne Regan, who was the head of HISA,
the great Wayne,
who was that, and then there's a couple other guys that were like on the board at that time, and I can remember standing, and so oftentimes what would happen is like the kids would be out dancing, the dads would kind of around, and every now and again they would kind of dance together. But
I'm not jumping in for Cotton Eye Joe. So do your thing, kids. Have a blast. Yep.
Right?
Dad's too old. Yep.
And we would be we would watch it, and I can remember like looking over to Wayne, and I would say, "Why is there no beer here? I mean, it's St. Patrick's Day, Shamrock's Ball." And Wayne would look at me and say, "For all the obvious reasons that this is a father-daughter dance." And so we kind of bit the bullet on it and said, "Yeah, you're right. You are absolutely right, Wayne. This is absolutely not the time for something like this."
How dare you?
However, right? I would go, and there was the, because there was the dad, mom, the father-daughter dance, but then there was support in the kitchen, right?
Yes.
So there was
put the food out,
right? And who was doing that? That was the moms, right? The moms. And I can remember walking back into that kitchen and being like, "Hey," and I just, "Hey, I need something." And all of a sudden I see like 11 wine bottles up there, and I'm like, "Whoa! This is the Shamrock Ball. This is And they were like, "Whoa! I don't know where."
They were here when I got here. I don't know what to do with that. Yep.
Exactly.
Yep. Oh,
so
funny.
that was again another great St. Patrick's Day memory. Yeah, St. Patrick's Day memory.
Hey, at least you have it.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people don't have those.
So before the break, we were talking about the how Jay met Kim, like the Jay.
Yeah, it's your turn. Give it up. Let's go.
All right. So I mean, I don't know. It's not that long.
We have plenty of time, but don't drag it out. Don't drag it out.
It's not that long. So Haley and I met at the University of Connecticut. I was, and this is
Go Huskies.
Right, and this is my claim to fame. So my claim to fame is that I was I wasn't a red-shirted freshman. I was a true freshman, and she was a senior. Okay. A senior in college, and I was a freshman in college. We met through
She's 4 years older than you?
She's 3+.
3 and a half?
Yep.
So
So I had we had a mutual friend who introduced us, who's the mutual friend who I was actually interested in a, I thought she was attractive.
Sure, hey.
Haley was, she had a boyfriend, and, so Haley and I became friends. Anyway, to make a very long story short, we ended up, it was, and what happened was, it was like right around finals at the end of that first semester, and we lived in the same dorm. And I happened to be walking by, and I was a freshman who really didn't understand how college worked at that point. I was like, wow, college is fun. I get to do what I want. Yeah. I've never had this before. Sure. So as I'm walking by, and I see my friend Haley was introduced to our mutual friend, I see her studying by herself. Huh. And she's sitting in this, like kind of in the community area in this big dorm by herself. And I said, as I was walking, it was one of those, I'm walking by, and I turned back around and said, I got nothing better to do. I certainly don't have any finals to study for. Of course I did.
I'll make a run at Haley. Sure.
Right? So we sat and talked. And it was one of those where we talked, and we talked, and we talked, and we talked, and it was like, wow, you're interesting, I'm interesting. And then, of course, I found out that she was from England.
Some might disagree, but go ahead.
Yeah, it was, she was from England, and she had this great backstory, and I was, this nerd. And, the next thing you know, it was the end of the semester. So she left, I left, and then when we came back, it was one of these, it was, and I know the night. It was February 7th, 1987. So I'm dating myself.
Look at you. Wow.
February 7th, 1987. We had gone to, we were friends. And now we knew one another. Still, there was nothing romantic. And then it was February 7th. We ended up at the same party. And for a great story that I won't tell on the air that happened before we got to this party, between my roommate and getting arrested. And I didn't get arrested, but,
nice.
It was a hospital visit. Yeah. Anyways, it was a long day.
Yeah.
And we get to this party. And by the time I got to this party, I had no friends there. There was no one I knew there except for Haley. And Haley's roommate, who ended up becoming a bridesmaid in our wedding, right?
Of course. So,
but she wasn't a big fan of me at that point because I was a freshman, and I was right.
Obvious reasons, yeah.
Yeah. So we were at this party, and the next thing I had my roommate's car. I was the guy. I had a car, and in college, not many people had cars.
No, yeah.
I borrowed my room, and my roommate's name, by the way, no relation. His name was Bobby Brady. So I had Bobby.
Nice. Yep. 1 of
Brady,
6. Yep.
I had Bobby Brady's car, and so it was the end of the party, and I hadn't been drinking, and I said, hey, do you guys need a ride home? And of course, Haley's roommate said, absolutely not with you, you idiot.
Right.
And Haley said, absolutely, we need a ride home. And I said, I have a car. Brought him home, brought him back to the dorm, and Haley and I ended up staying downstairs and talking, and
there
after
you go.
that,
rest is history.
The rest is history.
God, it's great stuff.
Great stuff. It was only 34 years ago, so.
Wow.
Other than that,
yeah, she looks good for 75.
But
yeah, she's good. She's good. Yep.
She's not quite 75.
Just kidding, Haley. Just kidding. That's funny. That's funny stuff. So, by the way, if you're listening to the show, send us in your how you met your honey.
Moneyinlaw.net.
Yep. Send them in, and we'll read them on the air. We won't. And if you don't want us to disclose anything, we won't. But if you want us to disclose,
we'll make up names.
Yeah, that's right. We'll make some stuff up. We'll fill in the gray areas. We'll fill those in.
Every guy's name is Doug or Chuck.
That's right.
Unless otherwise proven.
Yep. Mary or Susan. That's right. That's so you'll know where you're coming from.
All right. So this is the St. Patrick's Day special. So we are talking about we're talking about like some Irish. We're telling some good old war stories.
Personal stories here, bringing the Irish the whole.
That's what Irish guys do, right? They get a few in them, and
they talk about how they met their wife, who's made them 100 times better than they really would have been without her, which is absolutely true in my case. Right, yeah. And so you got to bring that in.
That's right. It has to be disclosed, or else.
That's right. All
right. So have you been to the old country?
So I have been. So quickly, because I know we're running out of time. Back in the day.
Well, we got all the time you need. Just don't take too long.
No. Back in the day, I used to take my my bride on an annual surprise anniversary trip. Wouldn't tell her where we're going. I would just tell her this is where we're going. And so one year, one of those anniversary trips was St. Patrick's Day in Dublin.
How about that?
So we flew over to the old country for a long weekend, which is doable. And
very doable.
Tore it up in Dublin for 4 or 5 days with some very good friends of ours, and had a great old time, and went out and saw all these greatest things. And it's funny, you talk about getting older, went to Mass in St. Patrick's Cathedral.
Wow.
which is about, you walk in and it is about as old school as old school.
Yeah, it's a real church.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You feel like, whoa, this has been around for a while. It's been around for a while, right?
It's like, I better shape up.
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
You start feeling guilty. And it's funny. It's like an Irish guilt thing, right? You walk in there like, I got it.
It's even more, you feel morbid. You feel worse than you normally would feel.
I need to go to confession.
Like, I feel bad at my home church. I feel terrible at this church, right? But we did all the sites and we hit it all up. And, in addition to going to St. Patrick's Cathedral, we went to the other cathedral, which is the Guinness Brewery. Yeah. And we toured up there for a good long time. So we've been back.
That is a cathedral, yeah.
Yeah, we haven't toured the country, but we went back to great time in Dublin.
So I've been to Dublin once as well. And one of the things that I love about Dublin is what it is. So it's not, when you think of like European cities, it's not this majestic city. It's not this it's not London. It's not Paris. It's not,
I would disagree with it's not majestic. It's
no,
majestic.
Well, no. But I'm saying from a visual standpoint,
sure.
Dublin, it is what it is, right?
It's like going to Boston. In a lot of respects, it feels, if you spent some time in Boston, which we've both spent a ton of time in Boston, it feels like Boston in a good way. Like you feel at home. We felt at home. We felt very comfortable. We loved it. We felt the vibe.
And that's the thing. And so anybody who says, or talks about going to Ireland, it's like, and we got to see some of the other parts of Ireland, and sure. there's some beautiful landscape in Ireland.
Countryside is beautiful. Yep.
But the thing that I loved most about Ireland, countryside, everything, like all of the cliffs of Moher, like anything that you could see, the thing that I loved the most about Ireland were the people. Yeah. The people, and so in the time, so my daughter was able. See? Look at that. That's crazy. Yeah. See, it's
God who's Irish agrees. Yep.
So, God who is at least partially Irish.
Yeah, my part.
Yeah. I mean, well, because he listens.
Sure.
He listens to the Irish. We'll say that.
Sure.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. Sure.
So it's those the people and we met. We met the people.
Step out for a second. Go ahead.
We met the people in Dublin, and because my daughter had done a semester abroad in England. In Ireland, and it was the kind of, the great thing about the Irish people is that they're so unimpressed by Americans that they're not like, oh, you're American, blah, blah. They're just like, hey, you're you, I'm me, and then of course I'm sure there's like the Americans like us that come over like, I'm Irish, and they're like I'm going to stop you right there.
We get 10 of you an hour.
No, yeah. Okay, you're Irish in that your people, like people that you were related to, used to live here.
Settle down.
Other than that, you're not Irish. You have no idea. You don't know what it's like growing up in Ireland in 1991.
So what I loved was the music.
I'm a sucker for Irish music as well. I love Celtic music. I love Gaelic.
But just the live music, like you walk, and you see it here. It's sort of, depending on the bars you go to, but you go to different places here, and they have the session, the Irish session, right? Yep. Where they're all sitting in a booth, they're banging out the tunes, and it sounds fantastic, and you're psyched to be around it, and it really, really works out well.
Yeah, I mean without question, and I've always, for as long as I've been probably in my adulthood, right? So from when I was like in my early 20s. I've always been drawn to that. I've always been like, because in my house, we never grew up with that. We didn't have Irish music. Right. Even though I'm half Irish, my old man's Irish, like they weren't, my parents weren't into music. They were like, we don't really know about music. Sure. But when I get in, as I'm a young adult and I was drawn to it. And to the point where, so I have this album, I bought this album, The Chieftains. Everybody who's, the classic Irish.
I love The Chieftains.
Right? So The Chieftains. So I'm like, I just want some Irish Celtic music. So I went to the store and I bought this, and I'm like, the first thing I see a Chieftains album, and a CD, back when the CDs first came out, I buy it, and I'm like, I buy it. And I get it, I'm playing, I'm like, this is great. And I don't even really notice it, probably 6 months into it, that it's a Christmas album. And I bought it in July, right? So it's a Christmas album, and I'm like, wait a minute. And someone said to me, like, why are you listening to a Christmas album in like September? And I'm like, what? No, it's not. It's just Irish music. It's just, it's fiddle music and Irish.
Together.
It's like it's Celtic. Yeah. And no. But it was so. And this was 30 years ago. To this day, I listen to it all year round.
Of course you do. Why wouldn't you? Oh, it's good stuff. Do you guys do anything for dinner? What do you do for dinner? St. Patty's Day.
So tonight
you go old school?
No, I don't. So I don't love Irish cooking, right? I have a couple Irish. No, I mean I'm okay.
All right, go ahead.
I mean we do it. We cook a lot at home, and it's the pandemic. But in the spirit of St. Patrick's Day tonight, because usually Wednesday night in our house is pasta night. That's kind of how we've kind of morphed
Prince
into
Spaghetti.
that.
Come on, you were wired, right? Yeah.
That's right. So it's Prince Spaghetti night. Although but tonight I just happened to be in the store, and it's March, and I happened to see all this like great basil, right? And it's like, oh look, there's this basil for sale. So I buy some basil. We're making pesto tonight, pesto pasta tonight. So it's going to be green pasta.
That's terrible.
Tonight. No, it's not.
Terrible.
No, it's not.
So you know what's cooking in my house right now?
What is it?
Corned beef and cabbage. Right now.
Which I can't even put it in my mouth.
Are you kidding me?
I don't like it.
You are out of you are
I do not like corned beef.
Missing out, my friend. You are out of your ever-loving. You are out of your ever-loving mind.
We grew up with corned beef and cabbage, and I
look. I love a lot of things about you. This is disheartening. This is disheartening.
No, I don't need this.
Everything under the sun. Hey, come on. There is no better way than to close out this show with a discussion about the greatness of
Tell me why.
Cabbage.
Sell me on it.
Come on, it's all the things that make everything great. It's corned beef, which is meat, which is great. Who doesn't love meat? It's potatoes. It's cabbage. It's carrots. It's vinegar. Nothing like vinegar. Throw it on there. Like, just gonna pull it all together. And it heats up phenomenal in the frying pan tomorrow.
As much as
that was my old man's move. My old man next day be like,
beef and cabbage.
I mean, put this whole thing in a frying pan and cook it all up, and you're like, this is day 2. It only gets better. Whoever would have thunk it?
As much as I truly love all of my Irish heritage,
sure.
I love Irish soda bread.
Oh yeah, it's like
It stops at the food.
It's like eating sawdust. It's like
awful.
eating sawdust. You're gonna take soda bread over corned beef and cabbage?
Are
you crazy?
All day long. I can't eat it. I can't. And again, maybe it was the way we had it. I don't know. But I remember my mom like, hey, we're having Irish soda bread. And I'd be like, yes. And corned beef and cabbage. I'm like, oh. And I would be miserable. Like, can we have some pasta?
My old man used to go smoked shoulder. You do a smoked shoulder instead?
Yeah.
Oh, delish.
That's
delish. Good stuff. It was good stuff. And the cabbage, you're like, oh, cabbage? Like, why don't you just load on like 4 gallons of vinegar? You're ready to roll.
Yeah, well, you load 4 gallons of vinegar on anything, and you load 4 gallons on getting on me, and I'm ready to roll.
Yep.
All right, so I think that might be it.
We're done. We're done.
So we covered food.
St. Patty's Day 2021. We covered food. We covered
alcohol.
We covered island.
We covered how you met your soulmate.
How you met your Irish spouse, your English spouse.
Yep, we covered some Irish, right? Which is a little awkward being Irish.
Awkward.
Yeah,
it's different.
It's
a
lot
awkward. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. We talked about some food, which is and we talked about Tell 'em or Do.
And you know what? We'll leave all of this to you, glorious listeners, to figure out which of those plugs into the money side of the equation and which of these plug into the law side of the equation. You know what?
There's so many different interpretations.
So many paths to go down. It's crazy.
I can't imagine how interesting it's going to be. All right. So we'll see everybody next week on My FM 101.3, Money in the Law. Jay Marsden from the Marsden Law Group. I'm John Drohan from Main Effort Financial. We're both from Ireland, maybe, right?
As we gear up for Easter, which is right around the corner. That's a whole other conversation.
Have a great Saturday, St. Patrick's Day, a couple days after St. Patrick's Day.
Second St. Patrick's Day because of us.
You're welcome. See you next week.
Yep.